Hello, I'm Stuart Blower. I'm on the canal. I'm having a short afternoon session up to dark. In fact, due to other commitments this week, the menu, as far as my angling concerned, consists of lots of short sessions. And I do fish a lot. Obviously, if you watch my videos on a regular basis, you realise that. If you read my blog, then you certainly do recognise that fact. But it doesn't mean to say I fish all day long. Most of my fishing, I would say, is in short, sharp and usually successful sessions. It's not about the amount of time that you fish, but it's about the quality of the fishing time that you can put in. And so a lot of my outings would be a few hours up to dark, like now, a few hours at first light, maybe into dark as well, that sort of thing. But I've just had a lovely bite off a chub. The rod tip pulled round and I struck into it, but unfortunately I had the dreaded hook pull. It's quite encouraging because the water temperature has dropped significantly. It's been in the 8s and 9s, not quite at 10, but it's been in the 8s and 9s in recent days. But we've had a sudden drop in air temperature, and we've had an overnight frost last night for the first time this year, and the water temperature has plummeted to 5.9. But I was encouraged with that. We're right on dusk now, no doubt you can tell from the footage, and I've been getting a few taps, and then I just had another bite, not a violent one like before, but the tip went around and I struck, nothing on at all. It's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? And a lot of anglers would be very disappointed now. I've had 2 takes, no fish, but I tend to look at the positive side of it. The fish are feeding, and in the conditions, that's very good. So I've got some time left this evening, but I'm going to be back tomorrow anyway, so I'm on a win-win situation really, because the fish are feeding and I'm going to get amongst them. I'm absolutely sure of that. I'm into a fish. My confidence has been rewarded, assuming I land it of course. Although having said that, it is the next day, so I didn't catch anything on the evening. But I've got me a little chub on here. Come on. Yes. That was excellent. I'm watching the rod tip now while I talk. What was particularly pleasing about that fish is that we've had a very sharp overnight frost. Car windshield was totally iced over. We had snow as well for the first time this winter, in the area where I live anyway. We've had some snow, so the conditions definitely took a downward turn. And I did notice this morning on social media a few anglers were posting comments like, I'm not going to bother today, it's not worth it, you won't catch in these conditions. But I go regardless of the conditions. I'm a great believer in the obvious fact that you never catch sitting at home. And think about it, how many times do we go and we tick all the boxes for a great session and we struggle? Other times it really is a difficult session that we face, and yet we catch. So you only catch, don't you, when your bait's in the water. And I'm glad I came. Oh, I just had a lovely bite there. The fish are out there, as I said yesterday. The fish are definitely feeding, there's no doubt about that. So regardless of what the water temperature is and regardless of what the conditions are, the reality is my bait's in the water and I've had a fish, and I've just had a violent little take there. So the thing is, you have to go, don't you? That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's no good sitting at home thinking I'll never catch. You have to be confident, you have to get out there, get your bait in the water, and you've got a chance. I've been doing a little bit of chub fishing over the last few weeks, and if you've been following that via my blog, then you'll be aware that I've been hair rigging barbel sticks, and I've been putting pellets out, and also some freebies as well, breaking up the barbel sticks. But on this occasion, it was because the water temperature obviously has been affected by the overnight frost. On this occasion, I've also put some ground bait out as well, just a little bit. I'm going to trickle it in over the session. And the reason I've put that out there is to draw the small fish in. As you know, a crowd attracts a crowd. I say that, don't I? Wish I had a pound for every time I say that. But a crowd attracts a crowd. But also as well, I think that those small roach, skimmers, gudgeon, very small chub maybe, coming into the swim, not only will act as a sort of safety zone for the bigger fish who are perhaps a little bit more wary when they see the small ones feeding, but also I think that they act as a trigger to induce them to feed sometimes. I think a little bit of competition can act as a trigger to bring that fish onto the feed when perhaps it's on the borderline. It might pick up your bait or it might not, but if it sees lots of small fish nibbling away and feeding, then there's an instinct that wants to get in there quickly. As an example, it's a different situation of course, but I believe it's the same. I've got a dog, a Bedlington Terrier called Twinkle, and she can be a bit fussy with the food sometimes, and we have these little treats for her, these little snacks, and I'll try and get her to take one, and she doesn't really want it. We've also got a ferret called Paris, and Paris will take anything. Even if he doesn't eat it, he runs off with it and hides it, and Twinkle knows that. So if she won't take the snack, what I say to her is, or I call out, Paris, and she thinks he's coming, so she takes it before he gets a chance to. And I think in a similar way, that can happen out there beneath the surface of the water. When those big fish, in my case the chub that I'm after, come into the swim or see all these little fish feeding, there's a certain sense, instinct of course, they're not able to necessarily reason things like we do as humans, or even my dog can reason things in that way, but I think there's a sense that they sense competitiveness, so they want to get in there quickly before that food goes. So that's why I've put the ground bait out as well as the pellets and the freebies today, to draw those smaller fish in, to get them feeding and to create that atmosphere where the bigger fish will come in. Well, it's worked so far. Although that wasn't a big chub, I'm certainly happy with it in the conditions. And what you saw there just was deliberate. I haven't left my bank sticks and rod rests at home, so I've had to do something makeshift. I did that on purpose. During the course this year, I'm going to do a series, video series, and of course the blog as well, called Fishing on a Shoestring, where I'm going to try and introduce a few tips and a few little ideas of how we can save money, because angling is quite expensive, and so if we can look at ways of reducing the costs, then we should do that. And that was just a little sample, because you can go out and spend 20 quid or more on a stainless steel bank stick, whereas I've just got a couple of branches there, stuck them in the ground, and the rod's been supported, and that's all you need, isn't it? If you're interested in how things look, of course that's different, but if you just want to support your rod, then something like that is quite simple. And I must say as well, no trees were hurt in the making of that. Those were just branches that were lying around on the ground. So check out that series that's coming up soon, and I want to make it interactive as well, in the sense that on my Facebook page and my Twitter account, I want to invite other anglers to put forward some of their tips as well, and we can include those in the video. So look out for that. And Robin there, picking up bits of ground bait, also perched on the rod. I think that's one of the great things about fishing, isn't it? It puts us into the natural world, and if we're quiet and we're there for a prolonged period of time, we often get to experience some great things. As well as robins, I get those all the while on the rod. I've also had grey wagtail, kingfishers even. I've been so quiet, the birds come along the river, the canal, the pool, my rod's been sticking out, it's landed on there, of course only for a moment. It realises that you're there, they're sharp, these birds, and then it's off. But it does put you into the world of nature in a way that I think a lot of people don't really appreciate just how great fishing is. And sadly, some anglers fit into that category as well. Into a fish. Again, it's only a small one, but they all count. Assuming I can net it, of course. Yes! Great. And there it is, complete with barbel sticks.